And there you have it. And just like that, we are live. Hi, folks. I'm not sure who's with us right now, but if this is your first time joining, welcome. My name is Sandra, and welcome to my channel From Lack to Legacy. On this channel, we talk all things money, investment, mindset, anything that's going to free Black women up from situations that no longer serve them. We talk a lot about mindset on this channel. And with that in mind, I have a wonderful guest today. And she isn't just a guest. I have moved her into, she's my friend, she's my sister. So I
Yes.
have a sister friend here today, and I'm just happy to share. Marissa Price, if you all do not know her, her channel is Let's Get Free. If you aren't familiar with Marissa's story, please stay tuned. You're going to want to stay to the very end. Marissa, like so many of us, left a toxic work environment. And now she is out in the world. She's an entrepreneur. She's teaching other Black women how to be entrepreneurs. And she's doing it all while she's traveling the world with her husband and her dog. I think that right there, right there, that's the show. That's it, y'all.
Yes.
That's it. That's all. But before we go any further, I'm just going to give you a little bit of background in case you don't know if you're new. I just want to give you a little bit of background about Marissa. Marissa considers herself a healer, an educator, and business strategist, and I happen to agree. Marissa Price is dedicated to supporting and uplifting others on their journey to freedom and well being. She has a unique blend of skills with a diverse background spanning from banking, entrepreneurship, and mental health advocacy. Having spent over 6 years in the banking industry, now, Marissa, I didn't know that. I thought you were in education.
Oh no, no, I was in banking.
Oh, Marissa's
Yes.
financial expertise laid the foundation for her transition into the world of entrepreneurship. Today, she leverages her extensive knowledge to assist both current and aspiring Black women entrepreneurs in establishing and expanding their online businesses. And she's helping me. I'm going to tell y'all all about it. In her online community for Black women entrepreneurs, free Black woman virtual community, Marissa fosters an environment where dreams flourish, knowledge is shared, and goals are achieved. Marissa's commitment goes beyond the business realm. As a passionate healer, she recognizes the profound connection between mental health and societal oppression. With unwavering dedication, she educates individuals about the far reaching impact of oppression on mental well being and offers practical solutions for healing from deep seated shame that you may have internalized throughout your life if you've been exposed to these kinds of things. Her mission is to create a safe space for growth, self discovery, and healing. And with that, I bring to you all Mrs. Marissa Price. Marissa, thank you
Hey.
for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Are you kidding? It's like having a friend over for tea. We're just talking.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
I'm going to ditch my questions. I was sharing with Marissa before we started. I said, I'm a terrible interviewer. It's fake. No matter how I do it, I don't care how much I practice, it's still going to come off like fake, like she's reading those
Mm.
questions. And I don't want that because Marissa is really my friend. And we came together because Marissa was on her way to Playa del Carmen. And she reached out to me, and we have just been in contact in each other's spheres since then. And I am so grateful. I am a part of her online community that supports new businesses for Black women. And that's me totally. And when I tell you, you are going to want to check her out because it's a wealth of information. And Marissa herself is just a community resource. So I'm not going to do too much talking, Marissa. Could you get us started and just kind of help us understand? Because you, again, you were in banking, and see, all along, I thought you were in education. Give us a little
No.
bit of your
Yeah.
background. Like, how did you start in corporate America, and how did you make that shift from
Mm.
working for someone to owning your own business and encouraging other Black women entrepreneurs?
Hmm. Yeah. So I started off in baking. So I went to college. So my undergraduate major was finance, and I also double majored in Black Studies. So I kind of had both of those coming out of college. And then I entered the banking field at a major bank and decided I wanted to go to graduate school. So I decided to pursue social work for graduate school, specifically concentrating in economic development. So I did that, went to graduate school, got out of graduate school, went back to the banking field, and then ended up in a job that was very harmful to my well being, and exited that job in March of this year and became trained as a virtual assistant through Digital Nomad Kit. So that is what I do now. I'm a virtual assistant and also helping other Black women launch and grow digital businesses to get free, to pursue your passions, to pursue your dreams, because the online economy opened up so many new doors that did not exist before for Black women entrepreneurs. And I have studied the path to entrepreneurship that Black women often take. And it's often we're pushed into entrepreneurship before we're ready, sometimes just trying to get out of a toxic job, a job that does not support our well being, our growth. And so now I am taking that knowledge that I have, that passion that I have, and helping other Black women become digital entrepreneurs as I am also navigating it.
Marissa, that's a mouthful. I mean, and it's kid. 'Cause, I mean, it couldn't be. It's like night and day. Corporate
Yeah.
America, that's a whole separate entity. That's a whole beast in itself. And then
Oh,
to not
yes.
only benefit from that kind of, it's nothing like that every 2 weeks. That dependable check. I think so many of us
Mm-hmm.
get caught up in that money of it. But then to make that pivot, to leave that space, what was going on? And for, I think so many women too, this was me, and this is why I thought this conversation was important. When I heard Marissa speak, it was the first time, I promise you all, I left a toxic work environment too. I didn't even know it was toxic. I didn't even have the language. So by the
Mm-hmm.
time I crossed Marissa's content and she was putting words to every experience I had, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Oh, are we frozen?
I think, yeah, your screen is frozen on my end. Yep.
Well, I know where I am. I'm in the jungle again. I'm in this jungle of Thailand, y'all. I'm in Koh Samui. And so if the internet goes in and out, but we still have audio, Marissa?
Hmm. Yep.
Okay, but my picture's just frozen.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Well, we're just going to keep right on going, you guys. And if the internet goes out, you all just stay with us. Grace us 2 minutes. I promise you, I'll get right back to it. But Marissa, could you just describe what is a toxic work environment? How would you describe that? Because there's got to be somebody out there just like me who's sitting in it. I was
Mm-hmm.
blaming myself. I said, well,
Oh, me
surely it's
too.
something I'm doing. I never
Mm-hmm.
thought for one moment it was the system around me. How could a
Mm-hmm.
woman, what are some things that you could look for to help identify whether or not you're in a toxic work environment?
I feel that if you're not being valued, if you're being undermined, and we know like the term microaggressions, right? So it's aggressive behavior that's experienced. Oh, I think we lost her. But it's aggressive behavior that's experienced on the micro level, which is between individuals. Um, and so if you're experiencing these microaggressions in the workplace, it's definitely a toxic work environment. If you are dealing with issues with your pay, where you're not being paid adequately, if they're asking you to take on multiple roles without it being in writing, without it being reflected in a salary increase, that is definitely a toxic job. Um, just an environment where you don't feel supported. And especially as Black women, we know the phenomenon from pet to threat, which was coined by three Black women professors, is very real. So often we enter into these workplaces, we're treated like a pet. So we're told that we're brought in for all of the things that we can bring to the table, all of our qualifications, all of the positive attributes we bring to the workplace. And then it switches up when people start to view us as a threat, people who are insecure. start to view us as trying to take their place, which we're not. But then the behavior switches up, and then all of a sudden the daggers are thrown our way, and then our work starts to be undermined. It's a very confusing process. And I think it often leads a lot of us to feeling depressed, like feelings of depression, anxiety, especially if when you first entered the workplace, you were given all of this praise, you were brought in for what you could bring. And then all of a sudden it switches up and people are, angry at you, mad at you, telling you you're doing stuff wrong. And it's confusing. It's very confusing. So a toxic workplace is something where I think your spirit doesn't feel settled. That's what I felt. And I was constantly trying to work harder. And I know that's a theme on Dr. Kamani's channel, Lifting as We Climb Consulting, that is often brought up. When we experience these things, we often try to work harder and try to convince people of our worth, who valued us when we first came in, but now all of a sudden they don't. So we think it's something that we're doing, which is ultimately, it leads you down a very vicious cycle, because, you're trying to convince people that you're worthy, that you're valuable. And sometimes it's a losing game when you're dealing with people who are deliberately trying to bring you down. So yeah, other aspects of toxic workplace. I see Sandra trying to get back on. Not feeling valued. If you know that there is a pay discrepancy between you and other people who might not look like you in the workplace, that's a toxic workplace because they're undervaluing you, and that's not okay. And you can always pivot, which is something I had to learn being in a toxic work environment. You have the power to pivot. You have the power to leave. And no, we cannot hear you at all, Sandra. Well, I can't hear you on my end. But I don't see you in the stream yard. Okay, just make sure. But yeah, I think another theme that I heard, aside from trying to work hard to convince other people that you're worthy, which is a losing battle, just not being valued in your role, being talked down to, those passive aggressive remarks. Oh, you have it on your phone. Yeah, I don't see you in the stream. Sandra, are you on the... Did you click the StreamYard link from your phone? And I can also... Okay. But yes. Yeah, a toxic work environment, just one where it can be causing you mental pain, spiritual pain, physical pain, which is the level I got to before I eventually left. Oh no, our internet's out. Oh. Okay. And these are very traumatic experiences, traumatic environments that a lot of us are in. I think as Sandra said, I also felt like it was just me. Had it not been for Dr. Kamani and Colette Elizabeth's channels, I think I would have still thought it was just me, because I did not know how prevalent this was and the pattern of behavior that really exists when it comes to the treatment of Black women in the workplace. The courage to leave. Ooh. I think it was... I kind of hesitate to... Well, I guess it did take courage, but I had gotten to the point where it was like physically affecting my health. And I felt like I was going to like die at one point. It had gotten to that point. I felt like my body was going to give out because I could not intake food and water at one point. It was at that level. And I think it was just a level of harm to my spirit that I was experiencing. Thankfully, I met with Yolanda Toole, a spiritual life coach, and began working with her. And she really put me on to the fact that this might be a deeper thing, like a spiritual thing that's affecting me. And I think it was. I think it was because it was the effects of what I was experiencing were very severe. And I again know that's not just my story, that's the story of many other Black women in the workplace experiencing these things. The resources you tapped into to get free. Huh. Dr. Kamani's channel, Lifting as We Climb Consulting, Colette Elizabeth's channel, Colette Elizabeth on YouTube, Yolanda Tools, Assistance and Guidance. I believe she is Coach Yolanda on YouTube. Um, the Garden with Alicia Renice in the chat. Hey. Yes. So the Garden was is a community for Black women rediscovering our creativity. And that was so pivotal because being in the banking field, being in a finance position, I had completely tapped out of my creativity and I was just in spreadsheets, in numbers all day. And I really had to reawaken to the fact that I am creative, and really delving back into my creative interests really helped save me from that, whatever that was that I got out of. And what else was there? Dr. Kamani's workbook that she has, Welcome to Your Queendom. I filled that out when I felt like I could not leave. I was still in that mindset. But walking through those prompts and those questions that she gave me in the workbook really helped me rediscover myself, tap back into who I was. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, and I think that's the case for a lot of us. We feel like we're not creative anymore, especially if we're in corporate environments where we feel like we do have to shrink ourselves to get by and cut off aspects of our personalities and our interest. It's a lot. So a lot of us forget that we're even creative, but yes, we are all creative. And thank you for creating that space, Alicia, for me to tap back into mine. Yes. How long did it take you from the time you realized to the day you... Oh, that's a great question. It was a long time. It was a long time. I think it was over a year because I had taken on an additional role at my job. Again, this is commonplace for Black women. They often place so much work on us. And as a reward for doing our jobs well, we get even more work. We get additional roles that we're not being paid for. So that's what happened to me. So I think the moment that I said yes and accepted that role, it didn't feel right in my spirit, first of all. And I'm learning boundaries are okay. Saying no is okay. Recovering people pleaser. But it's okay to say no to things that don't feel right to you. And I had to learn that over time because saying yes to that and going down that path really set me in such a downward spiral because I was just given more work than I could handle. And me having so much fear attached to a title and a position and money, being a first generation college graduate, I had so much fear attached to it that I was like, I just have to push through this and keep going. And every time I would raise something, it really wouldn't be taken that seriously. Hey, see you again.
I'm back. Thank y'all. I'm sorry, Marissa. I didn't mean to
No, you're
interrupt your
good.
thought.
You're good. You're good.
You all are the best.
Yes.
I heard every syllable you said, Marissa.
Okay.
And I'm
Good,
telling
good.
you, even in my second hearing it from you, my
Mhm.
third hearing, I don't care. You tapped into something that was so real and visceral for me. I was having a similar experience. And I'm telling you, the reason I wanted to do this is because I know, just like you, we can't be alone. But if I felt
No.
so alone, I felt so
No,
isolated.
me too.
It
Me
was
too.
it was so wonderful to hear you voice all the pain. It was hard to hear because I
Hmm.
knew I was like, oh my goodness, I know that thing inside out, everything that she's describing, and I understood that pain without you having to go into all the backstory. But I think the beauty in us sharing our stories, and I've heard this, Alicia says it all the time, is that we help somebody else by sharing the story. And that's
Yes.
what I want. I was
Hmm.
working in a building. I wasn't the only one in there. And I think what we don't understand is that a toxic environment isn't just about that one person. It's not just you. You're in it, but your coworkers are in that toxic environment too. It's
Hmm.
not just toxic.
Yeah.
It's toxic for everybody. So nobody is really at their best in that environment. So Marissa, when you're talking about it, there are people who were just like me, voiceless, sitting in the background and cheering. So I just want to applaud you for telling it and telling it so boldly and so fearlessly. How did you get the courage? Because Marissa, I'm a few years older than you. I went through the same thing and I didn't say a
Hmm.
word. I took my whooping quietly. One, I didn't even know I was being whooped. I didn't even know. I didn't even realize that this was an orchestrated kind of move to move me or to whatever the agenda was. I didn't even know that.
Hmm.
So how is it that you were able to recognize that stuff? And did you have to formulate a team around you for support? If a woman finds herself in that position, what would be the first step? What would you tell her to do first? What's the first thing you need to do?
Ooh, I think therapy was pivotal for me. So I restarted therapy when I was feeling depressed. I was experiencing feelings of
Mhm,
depression. And so I was like, I have to do something about this. So I decided to go to therapy. I used what's called the Employee Assistance Program at my workplace, which provides you with free therapy sessions. And this is something that you can check into if you do work for an employer. So I used that to restart therapy, and that really began my journey of understanding what I was going through because it was hard. It was very hard, and it was hard
yeah,
for me even to recognize, like you said, what was happening. So having someone objective tell me, even though my husband had been telling me like you have to go, like what is this? I was determined to stay. And also another theme,
mhm,
I'm like, they're not running me out of here. I've worked way too hard for this. I went to graduate school. I
mhm,
have all the credentials. I have everything. Um, I'm not letting this affect me. I'm going to keep powering through. And I know that's a
mhm,
mindset that a lot of us have, but it ultimately ended up being too much. Like having that energy of having to fight someone every day, I was carrying that into my
mhm,
household and that was affecting my relationship. So it was kind of like,
mhm,
I have to start therapy. I have to do something. So doing that, journaling is very helpful for me, doing voice notes. Because there was a time I had physically lost my voice. Like it was hard for me to speak. And I'm still recovering that because I had felt like it was suppressed so long in that environment. Every time I tried to speak up, it felt like I was hit with another like passive aggressive remark from some folks. So it was difficult. So that therapy, journaling, voice notes to prove to yourself that you are going through what you're going through because self gaslighting is very real when you're in toxic jobs. Connecting with community. I think being a part of the garden, listening to Alicia Renese on YouTube,
yeah.
having your playlist on was so important and so pivotal in me recognizing that no, I do deserve better. I can lead.
Oh,
I have power.
yeah.
Um, Connecting with a spiritual life coach was important to me. Was important in my healing journey. Um, and yeah, just having other people listen to other Black women's stories about being in toxic jobs validated what I was
Mhm,
going through. Like you said, hearing other people's stories, it sets off like, oh my gosh, I went through the same thing and no, I'm not alone. Someone else has this exact
yeah.
same story. That's powerful.
Yes, representation is everything.
Yes.
Because to be honest with you, I don't know if Becky with the good hair had told her story. I'm not so sure that I would have seen myself in that. I don't think that
Yes.
I would have been
Yes.
able to identify and say, oh, yeah, we're having a similar experience. But Marissa, I promise you from start to finish, everything that you said, those were steps. We have never spoken about this, but going through my EAP program, starting with therapy. I even worked with Coach Yolanda. And so I am telling y'all,
Yes.
she is giving you the recipe. This
Mhm.
is the straight forward recipe of how there's this is a way that you can begin to free yourself if you find yourself in a toxic work environment. And since running into you guys and watching your content and listening, this thing is probably more prevalent than I think any of us really thought, because so many people suffer in silence. I suffered
Mhm.
in silence. The women that I work all suffered in silence. We were too afraid to even speak to one another about the truth of what was really
Mhm.
going on in that environment. So you giving it a voice and having the courage to come out and call a thing, and then start to move your feet, Marissa, not just to get yourself free, but now you're getting other women free. How do you muster up the courage? That
Mhm.
because for me, I had to take some time and step back. How did you muster up not just the courage, but the energy to not
Mm.
just do it for yourself, but then to turn around and now you're fresh off of it, but you are helping
Mhm.
somebody else. How did you
Mm.
muster that?
Ooh. Um, I think reconnecting with my ancestors was has given me the strength to keep going, and Coach Yolanda was pivotal in that. So there was a time that I had.
She's the truth.
She is. She really is. There
The
was a
truth.
time that I had, had those connections more solid, I guess. And then entering into graduate school and all these things that take your time and energy in the banking field, there's no room for spirituality on a day-to-day basis. But reconnecting with that aspect of myself and tapping back into my history, my culture, what my ancestors went through. And I was being led to like read stories, to read books that I had read because I was a Black Studies major, but I had to go back and reread them. So I was being pushed, like it was like this message, this download that was coming to me, like go back and read what people who came before you have been through, so you can connect what they have been through to what you're going through, because it's nothing new. It's the same cycle being
Mm-hmm.
perpetuated. It just looks a little different now, but it's the same narcissistic abuse, trying to break your spirit, trying to break your confidence, trying to keep you enchained in a lot of ways.
Yep.
So I think returning to that literature, studying, reconnecting with my ancestors has really given me the energy and power to keep going and hopefully help other Black women get free of toxic workplaces because we deserve better.
Yeah. And you are really doing the work, Marissa, and laying out real tangible tools and pathways that women can use to get free from toxic work environments, leave jobs, or just pivot. It doesn't even have to be a toxic job. Let's just say you're at a place where you want to pivot. You want to leave it all behind. Marissa has crafted a program and I'm a part of it. I'm telling you all, I just joined. It hasn't even been an entire month, and the information that I've been able to garner, I really need to tap into Marissa. When she tells you that she is a virtual assistant, no, she's a virtual assistant extraordinaire. Seriously, the just the polish on her work. So Marissa, because I already know I'm familiar, can you tell anybody who's watching how can they become a part of your program? Explain to them what they can expect to get from the program, because I'm telling you, staying in a toxic work environment, it's not going to get better. It's not going to get better. Your health, you don't benefit in any way from trying to tough it out. I did that. Marissa, we talked about it. Most Black women, we have this. We can power through. I'm not going to let them take anything from me. They're not
Mm-hmm.
taking anything. When we leave places that dishonor us, we're the winner. Hands down.
Mm.
Anything that they have
Yes.
there, you
Yeah.
didn't want it, really. You didn't need it. You might have wanted it. You thought you did, but you don't need it. Nobody deserves to be in that kind of toxicity. And it really does. It permeates everything, your personal life, everything.
Mm-hmm.
But Marissa has been like, really, I'm telling you, it's like textbook. This is how you do it. You have to acknowledge that this is what's happening. You need to get some support and a team around you. And I promise you, I will drop all of these links in the description, because if you're not familiar with Coach Yolanda, you need to reach out to her. Marissa has given you some wonderful resources. She too is a resource. So could you tell them how they can connect with you and become a part of your program if they're interested in pivoting?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can to connect with me, you can always follow me on YouTube, in Price MSW, or Instagram, in Price MSW. But I did start a community, virtual community for current and aspiring Black women digital entrepreneurs called Free Black Woman Virtual Community. It is $5 a month. And yeah, I think we have like 13 members so far, but we've been talking about topics like social media marketing, which is not always the easiest, especially we have things to unlearn, things like the fear of being seen, which I'm still working through, in order to put our
Mhm.
things out there on social media and market our businesses. But I feel that digital entrepreneurship is kind of the way of the future. And it's not often taught to us like that. It's kind of taught to us
Mhm.
as it's off, it's, our, excuse me, our access to it is limited. It's off access to us.
Mhm.
But really, attending Exodus Summit and hearing like I think it was Move Abroad Money was a theme last year. Hearing all of the
Mhm.
sessions on different ways that you can make money online, whether you want to do drop shipping, freelance writing, starting like a community like this. There are so many different ways to make
Yeah.
money online, and I feel like it can help us leave toxic work environments. So yeah, if you'd like to join my community, you can do so that way. I also have an Instagram page, Free Black Woman VS, and that is where I post everything related to kind of the virtual assistant, online digital entrepreneurship community stuff. So yeah.
Wow, Marissa, thank you. And I think you said something too. I think that fear of being seen, I think when you're in a toxic work environment, it almost trains you to hush, make
Oh
yourself
yes. Yeah.
small, get little, stay out of the way. And so that can really seem like a big leap. You really do have to do some work. I had to do a lot of work too with a therapist, trying to
Yes.
garner, just my sense of self again to even make this transition and this pivot. What I would say is, I think what I heard you say, between therapy, journaling, community, reaching out to others. Don't try to do it all by yourself. There's support out here for you. There are wonderful, beautiful Black women who are, I mean, it's almost like it's their mission to
Hmm.
meet you where you are and help usher you into the next phase, away from what doesn't serve us, away from what is the opposite of ease. We don't want that. We're not trying to perpetuate that anymore. So the Marissas of the world, Stephanie Perry, Adelia Abordache, and Rashida Dow, to me, I think they should have a whole national holiday for just
Yes.
sounding the alarm. Seriously,
Yes.
because it's not, they can't one by one reach out and transform our lives one by one. But the move to just say, take a breath.
Hmm.
Black women, you can take a breath. You can
Hmm.
you can have ease. You can play. Were you all there for Alicia's play date? Remember when she did I was like, this is genius. All of this is just what my weary
Yes.
spirit needs. And
Hmm.
so I'm inviting you to join all of these women. If you're not familiar with Exodus Summit, you need to check out Stephanie Perry. Check out her YouTube channel. Adelia is Picky Girl Travels the World. And Rashida has two channels. Rashida Dow, I think one is Rashida Doe. It's a play
Hmm.
on her
Yeah.
last name. And
Yes.
she does, I'm telling you, these women are doing God's work in
Yeah.
helping other Black women get free and find the life and being able to create the life of your dreams. And Marissa's certainly doing her part too. So, Marissa, can we get that information? They can just reach out to you through Instagram, um,
Hmm. Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
And
linked in
I'll
my
make sure that
Instagram
I
bio.
put, okay, cool. And Marissa, listen, she does all things tech. That's why you all even have a broadcast today. Because when I had this all messed up, I had the time, you all know. This is why I have linked up with Marissa, because I need the very support that she offers. I did the same thing. I did the pivot. I started a YouTube channel and inadvertently started a business. I have no business background at all. Really, I don't. I was a teacher for almost 30 years. And just the small things that Marissa has been able to, just like how to do a landing page. What's the
Mhm.
purpose? Why do you even need a landing page? All of those things that if you aren't an entrepreneur and you're new to this, and I do suggest that if you're leaving a toxic work environment, don't be afraid. Don't let money be the thing. Like, well, what am I going to do? There are a ton of things you can
Mhm.
monetize. A hobby, a skill, something that you're passionate about, a passion project, any number of things. Black women, we have it in us to be entrepreneurs. We just need the support. And so Marissa, for me, is that support. She's my frontline support. And she doesn't even know it that I have a whole list of questions like, Marissa, how do I do this? How do I do that? But Marissa, I think one thing too that stops other Black women just like me who started businesses is because we
Mhm.
think it's expensive. Is it
Mhm.
expensive to have the support that you offer? I know that your program's $5 a month, and
Mhm.
that's nothing. You all think about it. What we pay in terms of coffee, eating out, we spend that money easily. You could take that same $5 and invest it in yourself and have this business resource right at your fingertips. Marissa, what are some other services? I know you have the monthly, but do you do one-on-one coaching as well?
I don't. I've been thinking about that. I haven't launched anything yet, but that may be to come. But yeah,
Yeah,
still kind
I
of
would
in the,
probably need. I
the
need some
experimenting
one-on-one.
process. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I need some one-on-one time. But
Mhm.
don't you have resources? Do you have resources for virtual assistants? Because I know I need one. I really do.
I did create a lead magnet. It's kind of, it walks you through whether you need a virtual assistant or not. So it has like a weekly log of tasks in the time that they take you. Um, and that is, I think it's on, yeah, Free Black Woman VS. If you go on Instagram and you tap the link tree, you can download that resource if you're kind of going back and forth if you need a virtual assistant or not. Um, but no, I don't. Well, I do have strategy sessions that I did put out there, and I can provide you with that link if you are looking for help with business strategy. And I'm not like the salesy business person, hustle girl. Like that's not me.
Mhm.
Very much compassionate, ease type of businesses that I help people strategize with. So I can provide you with that link too. But I think those are the only resources I have so far.
But this very cool, calm, very centered person that you see, that's Marissa. That's
Oh,
that is her energy. She is,
thank you.
so if you're angst about your business, if you have any anxiety about your business, trust me, when you meet with her, when you talk with her, it's like this automatic woo-saw. It's like this very
Thank
legal
you.
volume that just kind of brings you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I know I need that balance because I can be high strung and a little high energy trying to get it all done. And we're
Yeah.
so accustomed to trying to get it all done, but we don't have to. Really, we have resources right at our fingertips.
Yes.
Before we wrap up, Marissa, is there anything else that you want to share with us? Well, let me say this. Marissa, where are you now? I don't want to tell the people everything, but where are you currently living?
Guadalajara, Mexico. Yeah.
Just in Mexico. Just pivoted, just pivoted 6 short months ago. Not
Yes.
only did she leave
Yes.
a job, start a business, and move abroad, I just think that all of that right there speaks so much to your commitment, not only to yourself, but to health, well-being. And what a beautiful, way that you've been able to not only take your skills, your life experiences, but leverage those to help others. I think that is so commendable.
Thank you.
And I respect the work that you're doing. You all please check out Marissa's channel. Check her out. Check out Dr. Kamani and Colette Elizabeth. They all talk the same talk, and it's good talk. It's how we free ourselves. Nobody's coming to save us. Did anybody come to save you, Marissa?
No, no.
No, they're not coming. They're not gonna ride in on a white horse. I promise you. The people down at HR, they're not gonna say, you know what, this not serving you, ma'am. It's time for.
Oh,
They're not gonna do that.
I
They're not
wish.
gonna give us a severance. Wouldn't it be? That would be
That
lovely.
would be
So
wonderful.
some of this, like Black women do with everything else, we have to take the helm, we have to take the lead, and we have to save ourselves. And even
Mhm.
in that, we don't have to do it alone. That whole trauma response of being ultra independent,
Mhm.
not necessary. We can put some of those things down when we leave those spaces and find our tribe, find like minded women who are healthy. Nobody is totally healthy and whole, but we're on this journey. So I'm always interested in being in the space with women who are about health, healing, wholeness, and then sharing with one another. So
Mhm.
thank you, Marissa, for doing this with me. I had a ton of
Absolutely.
questions. I lost all the questions, Marissa. I don't even know where the questions are now.
You're fine. You're
I have you.
fine.
Because we talked about this. I really did just want to have a conversation with my friend, and I
Mhm.
wanted to highlight the work that she is doing because the path that she took you all, it's not unique. It's not like it's available to all of us. The
Mhm.
very things that Marissa laid out for us, it's available for all of us. Wouldn't you say, Marissa?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah, if you're able to see the resources that exist before you, because a lot of times when we're in these environments, you feel stuck. You feel like this is your life
Hmm.
forever. And you just have to power through and hate every day that you wake up and have to go to this job. But the more that you tap back into yourself, I think, and make time for yourself and be honest with what you're feeling, it kind of opens you up to new people and new possibilities that you didn't see before. So yeah, I think it's
Hmm.
definitely open to everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that being honest too, that there comes that day of reckoning, like where your body and
Mm.
everything just tells you, I
Yes.
can't do this. This is unsustainable. So,
Mm-hmm.
sister, if you have reached that place where it just feels unsustainable, if you're crying going into work every day, that was me. If you sit, if and Marissa, it was so real, like clockwork, about 3 minutes from my job, I would start to cry every
Mm-hmm.
day. 3 minutes, like clockwork,
Yeah.
like at the same street, the same stoplight, the
Mm-hmm.
tears would just start. I thought it was something else. I did not, I had no clue that it was the environment that was toxic and that was causing my body to do all these things. Ladies, we don't have to
Yes.
live like that. We really don't. We basically, America is what it is because they built it off our labor. If we
Mm-hmm.
can build a whole country, you all don't think we could build businesses for ourselves? We
Mm-hmm.
absolutely can. But I think you need to see somebody do it. You need to, some of us, like me, I needed just the encouragement of another sister saying, come on, I'll
Mm-hmm.
walk with you.
Yeah.
Walked with me in a way, whew, sacred,
Mm-hmm.
sacred, sacred.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if she understands. She has to. And it didn't take long. You want to talk about somebody gifted. Yolanda is so gifted, Marissa. My time with her
Cheers.
was short. I don't even think we worked together for 3 months. It might have been 3 months. But her gifting,
Mm-hmm.
it is so pronounced that just she cut straight through. Can I just tell you all the truth? Get some people around you that will cut through the BS.
Mm.
Marissa, she cut straight through my BS.
Yes.
She said, nope, you're avoiding this. Nope, you're she did not let
Yes.
me off that floor
Mm-hmm.
until I was able to say, yep, you're right. That's what this is. You're right. You're right. It is what, because I was even in
Yes.
denial, about some things that were in play. And she was like, nope, nope,
Mm-hmm.
go back, go
Yep.
back. So if you don't have people like that, we're giving you those resources today.
Mm-hmm.
Please take anything that resonates with you. I hope there was something today. I hope that I have at least given you exposure to another resource, Marissa Price, and all the wonderful work that she's doing over there, Dr. Kamani and Colette Elizabeth. They're all about helping Black women get free. Stephanie Perry and the whole gang, all of that, the whole tribe is about empowering Black women to live their best lives. And we want that for everybody. I see Big Up Yourself is in the comments, and Alicia too. I'm telling you, y'all, there's so much healing right here in
Mhm.
our own tribe. You
Mhm.
don't have to go outside for it. And we aren't trying to stick anybody up for it. Marissa's program is $5 a month, you all. And I'm telling you, from day one, it has paid for itself. The value in it for me,
Mhm.
priceless. The fact that I can go onto that community board and chat with other women who are doing the exact same thing that I'm doing. These are new entrepreneurs. And so
Mhm.
that just having that community there has been a great resource for me as well. So I want to personally thank you for the work that you've
Oh,
done, Marissa.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anything future coming up that we should be on the lookout for? Will you be in Guadalajara for a while, or are you about to venture off on a bop around, or how's the travel
Um,
part coming?
at least until the end of the year, and trying to figure out where to go next. We do have a few countries we're looking at, but yeah, that's to be determined. So at least until the end of the year, being Guadalajara.
So there you have it, folks. Ladies, and I'm really talking to Black women in particular. If
Mhm.
you are in a place, it doesn't feel like ease, your soul is not at rest, you don't have to stay there. You could do the same thing. While I think my friend Marissa is ultra special, I think the path that she took is not unique. It's one that any of us could replicate. You can customize it. It doesn't have to look the way Marissa did it. It doesn't have to go exactly the way I did it. But certainly you're worthy of being appreciated. You are worthy of respect. You are worthy of a healthy work environment. You're worthy of happiness, love, joy, and ease. And there's a way to get you there. If you're confused, if you're stuck, we're here for you. Please, you all reach out to Marissa, please. And we'll be in touch with you guys. So, Marissa,
Yes.
that's all I have for today. Thank you for bearing with me with this horrible internet. I feel
Oh no,
like we should do a
you're
duo.
fine.
We made
I'll
it
be down
through.
for
I
that.
was
Yes.
so well, one thing that we didn't talk about, and I meant to, and this is just a whole aside, is
Yeah.
I think Marissa has shared this. I've shared this too. We both have anxiety. And then I
Mhm.
think some of that being seen and things just like this, something going wrong. Because if you've worked in a high stakes environment, I worked in a very high stakes environment. I worked at a gifted school. Everything had to be perfect. If you
Mm.
fell down,
Wow.
oh my God, that was the end of the world. I think that pressure to be perfect, that
Yes.
pressure to make it look good and be polished and professional can sometimes work to our detriment. So I'm glad today unfolded the way it did because it gave me another
Yeah.
opportunity to be like, you know what? It's not perfect. And
Yeah,
guess
that's
what? It's
okay.
going to be okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It'll be
Absolutely.
okay.
No, this
So
was
it doesn't
beautiful.
have to be
Thank
perfect,
you.
ladies. It was. Marissa, thank you. I'm so happy to see you and talk to you, girl. I'm so happy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you.
And everybody in the chat, thank you guys for joining us. And thank you all for staying with us to the very end. And Marissa, I'll be in touch.
Okay.
I'll get
Sounds
all
good.
those links and stuff put down into the chat. Was there any in the description? Was there anybody who had a question? Tara says, how do we sign up? I'll put the links, Tara, in the description, but you can also go over to Marissa's YouTube channel, Let's Get Free, and you can find the information on her YouTube page. On Instagram, are you Marissa Price or are you Let's Get Free?
In price MSW. Mm-hmm. It's my handle on Instagram.
M.
Hmm.
Okay, so then you can reach out to her either on Instagram or YouTube. And then again, check back after the broadcast is done, after we're done going live. I will link all of those things in the description as well. All right, y'all. That's it. That's all we got for today. Marissa, thank you, sweet. I'll be in touch.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Bye
Bye, y'all.
bye. Bye.